High upon the jagged cliffs of Eldermere, where crashing waves whispered secrets to the wind, lighthouse keeper Harlan Crow tended his eternal flame. The night was unnaturally still, the stars hidden behind a veil of storm clouds. As he polished the great lantern, a rusted iron box he had never noticed before caught his eye. Inside lay an ancient brass lantern etched with constellations that seemed to move on their own. When Harlan lifted it, the wick ignited without flame, casting a silver glow that revealed ghostly faces in the glass. "The lost one's call," a voice echoed from the lantern. Harlan's heart raced. What forgotten souls had this relic summoned, and why did they stare at him with eyes full of accusation? The silver light intensified, pulling Harlan into a trance. Visions flooded his mind, sunken ships from centuries past, sailors drowning in terror, their final cries carried on the tide. Among them he saw a man who looked exactly like him, his own ancestor, Captain Thorn Crow, the pirate king who had betrayed his crew for a chest of cursed gold. The lantern pulsed hotter in his hands. "You carry his blood," the ghostly voice warned. "Light the way home, or the sea will claim every soul you love." Harlan staggered back, the lantern's glow revealing a massive shadow moving beneath the waves. The storm returned with fury. What ancient evil had he awakened, and could he ever escape the legacy of betrayal? Harlan bolted the lighthouse door, but the lantern would not extinguish. Its silver beam pierced the storm, illuminating spectral sailors marching up the cliffs toward him. Their translucent forms dripped seawater and barnacles. "Captain Crow's heir," they moaned in unison. "You must pay the debt." Harlan recognized faces from childhood tales, men his ancestor had abandoned. He demanded answers from the lantern. A single word formed in the glass: sacrifice. The ground trembled as the shadow beneath the waves rose closer, a colossal tentacled beast stirring from its slumber. Harlan realized the lantern was no mere relic, it was the key to either redemption or total destruction of Eldermere. Desperate for guidance, Harlan climbed the spiral stairs to the lantern room. The silver light now projected maps of sunken wrecks across the walls. One map showed his own lighthouse sinking beneath the tide. A spectral woman appeared, Captain Thorn's betrayed wife, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Your ancestor chose gold over loyalty," she whispered. "Now you must choose light over darkness." Harlan felt the lantern's weight grow heavier, as if it demanded his own life force. Outside, the beast's tentacles lashed the cliffs, shattering rocks. The villagers below began to flee, their screams carried on the wind. Harlan knew he could not run, the curse had chosen him. Harlan opened the ancient chest again and found a yellowed logbook. The final entry, written in his ancestor's hand, confessed the betrayal. Thorn had sunk his own ship to hide the gold, dooming his crew. The lantern was the crew's dying curse, bound to the bloodline until a descendant lit the true path home. Harlan's hands shook. The spectral sailors gathered at the door, their moans turning to roars. The beast's roar shook the tower. "I will not repeat his sin," Harlan shouted. He raised the lantern high, its silver beam cutting through the storm like a blade. The ghosts fell silent, waiting for his choice. With the beast's tentacles now wrapping the lighthouse base, Harlan made his decision. He pricked his palm with the lantern's rusted spike, letting his blood drip onto the wick. The silver flame turned crimson, and the ghosts began to glow with peace. One by one they turned toward the sea, walking on water as if returning home. The beast roared in fury, its massive eye rising above the waves. Harlan held the lantern steady, his voice steady despite the pain. "Your debt is paid," he declared. The crimson light pierced the beast's eye, causing it to recoil. The tower swayed violently, but the ghosts sang a final song of gratitude. The storm began to calm as the last ghost vanished into the horizon. The beast sank back into the depths, its roar fading to a distant rumble. Harlan collapsed against the lantern, blood still dripping from his hand. The silver glow softened to a gentle blue, and the maps on the walls faded away. Dawn broke over Eldermere, revealing calm seas and villagers returning to their homes. Harlan smiled weakly. The lantern had grown lighter, its curse seemingly broken. Yet as he looked out to sea, a single star that had been missing from the sky now burned brightly, a new constellation in the shape of a ship. Word spread quickly through the village. Fishermen reported nets filled with gold that dissolved into sea foam when touched, the ancestors' cursed treasure returning to the waves. Harlan became a quiet hero, though he spoke little of that night. He continued tending the lighthouse, now with the ancient lantern displayed proudly in the lantern room. Children gathered at dusk to hear his tales, their eyes wide with wonder. But Harlan noticed the lantern still hummed faintly on stormy nights, as if waiting. One evening, a young girl with eyes like his ancestors arrived at the door, holding a small brass compass. The girl revealed herself as the descendant of one of the drowned sailors. She had been drawn to the lighthouse by dreams of the lantern. "The curse is not fully broken," she said. "The beast still dreams below." Harlan felt the lantern pulse in agreement. Together they studied the logbook, discovering a final hidden page. The beast was the guardian of the gold, bound to rise if any bloodline heir ever sought the treasure again. Harlan realized his sacrifice had only delayed the inevitable. The girl offered her own blood to seal the pact forever. Harlan hesitated, knowing the cost. Under a blood-red moon, Harlan and the girl climbed to the lantern room. They placed both their hands on the lantern, letting their blood mingle on the wick. The flame erupted in brilliant white light, illuminating the entire coast. The sea boiled as the beast rose one final time, its tentacles thrashing. The light struck its heart, and the creature let out a deafening cry of release. Its body dissolved into foam and starlight, sinking forever. The lantern's glow faded to a soft, steady gold. Harlan and the girl embraced as the first true sunrise in years bathed the cliffs in warmth. In the weeks that followed, the village flourished. Fishermen returned with bountiful catches, and children no longer feared the cliffs at night. Harlan passed the lantern to the girl, now its new keeper, teaching her the rituals of light and remembrance. He retired to a small cottage by the sea, where he carved wooden ships in memory of the lost souls. On quiet evenings he would sit on the rocks, listening to the waves. The lantern's light could be seen from miles away, a constant beacon that no storm could ever extinguish again. Years later, Harlan stood on the cliffs one last time. The girl, now a young woman, tended the lighthouse with pride. She waved to him from the tower, the lantern burning steadily behind her. Harlan smiled, knowing the curse was truly laid to rest. As the sun set, he tossed a small brass coin into the waves, the last remnant of his ancestors' gold. The sea accepted it without protest. A single star twinkled brighter than the rest, and Harlan knew the lost souls had finally found peace. The story of the Lantern of Lost Stars spread far beyond Eldermere. Travelers came to see the lighthouse and hear the tale from the new keeper. Children learned that even the darkest curses could be broken by courage and sacrifice. Harlan lived out his days in quiet contentment, watching the stars from his cottage window. The lantern never failed, its light an eternal reminder that the past could be forgiven, but never forgotten. One final night, as Harlan lay in his bed, the lantern's light reached through his window. A gentle voice whispered, "You have honored us all." He smiled and closed his eyes, the sound of calm waves carrying him into peaceful sleep. The next morning, the villagers found him gone, but the lantern burned brighter than ever. The girl knew he had joined the stars he had saved. The Lantern of Lost Stars remains a beacon to this day. Its light guides ships safely home and reminds all who see it that redemption is possible, no matter how deep the curse. Eldermere thrives under its glow, a living testament to one man's courage. And on the clearest nights, if you listen closely to the waves, you can still hear the faint song of grateful souls singing their thanks across the sea.